It is unfortunately a sign of the time. Students needed permission to, and this is a quote, participate and listen to a book written by an African American. That's it. It doesn't mention the contents of the book, no radical theories, just a book written by a black person.
Glad to have you, amazing viewer. It's another exciting time, another educational video, collection of TikTok videos. I must mention that I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I decided to share it with you. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to see such videos in the year 2024, but it has happened again. And it's another opportunity to educate ourselves on the things that keep occurring in our society. I don't know how long this is going to last, but these are black people experience, mixed people, like these are black mixed race, transracial, like all those people who are the minority group in a predominantly white school or even neighborhood. So this what this video is about. Kindly, as we interact and educate ourselves on the things that are happening in our society, let's try to make a positive impact. So even as you share your thought, kindly, this is for educational purposes. I appreciate and enjoy the rest.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. That little girl is me. That's me. I was probably about 5 years old. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. When you look back at you as a kid, you realize, like, I didn't know what I was gonna go through as an adult. You know, as a kid, you're innocent. You're just going through life, and all you know is you're gonna be hungry, tired, want to play outside, and then you may get a bath when you come home, but you don't know what you're about to go through in your life at that age, okay? So I'm gonna tell y'all, for the past couple of months, maybe almost a year and a half now, I've been doing some serious soul searching, and I've been crying the last few days, and I hope I don't cry in this video. But I'm gonna tell you something. I experienced a lot of trauma in my life, and a lot of it, and I am gonna cry, but a lot of it happened when I started school. And I went to a predominantly white school. And as a child who, you know, I was born in Wisconsin, but I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia for a few years before returning back to Wisconsin to go to school. And so when I entered school and dealt with a lot of these white kids, they said some really mean and hateful things to me that really messed me up. The things that was said to me back in the 80s had such an effect on my self-esteem because they made me hate my own skin. I actually went to therapy for this in my 20s because it hurts. You don't realize how bad racism really is, and a child doesn't understand why people don't like them because of their color. I'm telling you right now, I'm 41. And I was 5 in that picture. And the things that I went through growing up in that predominantly white school still hurt me to this day. Because I grew up hating my own skin color, not loving myself, other things ended up happening to me because of this trauma. I ended up becoming a people pleaser, ended up not knowing how to love myself. So I'm telling you, stuff is serious. Racism hurts kids and affects them all the way into their adulthood.
Okay, I have a question for all of my black people who grew up in predominantly white spaces. When was the aha moment, if you had one, where you realized that you just like couldn't function or hang the same way that you used to in these spaces? Let me tell you about mine. Okay, so about me. I'm transracially adopted, which means that I was adopted into a family of another race, so my mom is white. And I went to a predominantly white private Catholic school most of my life growing up, and then after that, for college, I went to a predominantly white small liberal arts college in Wisconsin, and have just kind of, you know, been in these white spaces all my life and kind of thought that this is just like the norm, right? Like, I have a lot of white friends. I am constantly the only person of color in a classroom. like, this is just how it goes, and didn't think that it was a bad thing necessarily, because I just like knew how to function well. Like, I was a high functioning Black person within white spaces, and it just was like all I knew because I was from the Midwest and had grown up like this all of my life. So right after undergrad and before graduate school, I moved from Wisconsin to DC for the summer, and my mind was blown. Like, there were just so many people of color and Black people, and there are so many spaces just for BIPOC folks, and I was like, I didn't know this was even possible. Like, it was just so nice being in a space that like I could see people who look like me all the time, and it just like changed something in me. And then when I moved back to the Midwest, I moved to Minnesota for graduate school, I was truly depressed. And so when the first semester started, here I am again, the only Black person in my class, and being taught by white professors and learning about white scholars. Everything I'm like used to, right? But I just remember sitting in this classroom and listening to all of my white peers talking about these dead white scholars who like I just didn't care about, and thinking that like there is something inherently different going on here. Like, they're speaking a different language than me. Nowhere in any of this conversation or any of these texts that we were reading was there any mention of race, any type of intersectionality, and I just like in that moment was like, I can't do this. Like, I am inherently different and care about so many things that are not the same as my peers. Like, what do I do, basically? And from that moment on, I knew that I needed to find spaces where people looked like me to be able to survive this predominantly white school. Like, I was still gonna go to the school because I had to, but I knew that moving forward, I needed to function and be in spaces that I felt comfortable with so that I could then survive these white spaces.
This is how you knew your school was racist, if this happened. Okay, class, so we're gonna be learning about slavery today.
Slavery, like you.
Okay, class, I know you guys saw on the news last night a Black woman got shot, so...
You okay?
Class, has anyone seen a black bag? Aren't you Black?
Of the time, students needed permission to, and this is a quote, participate and listen to a book written by an African American. That's it. It doesn't mention the contents of the book, no radical theories. Just a book written by a Black person.
So obviously this is what they're doing, but I think it's a little bit more nefarious than this, because I think two things are about to happen. One, we're about to see a side of the country that's always been here. I don't know why y'all keep thinking that these people don't exist, but you realize that there's going to be white parents that definitely say no, right? Like, you know that's gonna happen, right? Like, you realize there's gonna be a bunch of little white kids that are sitting in the hallway or something because they're not allowed to listen to the books because their parents are racist. You know that's going to happen, right? And then once those parents find out that that's been happening, they're going to cause an entire shitstorm to happen, right? They're going to go and they're going to yell at the school board. They're going to do all that bullshit. My kid shouldn't have to not participate in school because you want these uppity niggas. That leads me into my second point, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to exhaust the system. They're using the system because the system isn't designed to put up with this. It's not. It's not designed to combat segregation. That the system isn't designed for that, and segregation is absolutely the goal. So what are they trying to do? Tie all of this shit up in red tape so that teachers get exhausted, parents get exhausted, the kids get exhausted, and the solution is abstinence. Fuck it. We just won't have Black people around. Oh,
good morning. Get ready with me. Today I'm going to talk about what it was like growing up in a predominantly white town and white school. I grew up in the small town of Manteca, California. When I graduated 8th grade, there were about 11 Black kids in the whole school, and that's from what I could tell looking through the yearbook. That was back in 2011, and the school I went to is called Nile Garden, home of the Panthers. I was the only Black girl in my grade the year I graduated, and I think there were 2 Black boys, one with like blonde hair, blue eyes, who's super light skinned, and another one who I'm assuming was Black. Now, the things I'm gonna tell you, I can assume only happened to me because I'm Black, but I can't be sure because kids are ruthless, so it might have just been because they didn't like me. When I was in junior high and started wearing my hair straight, a boy came up behind me, pulled my ponytail, and said, "Oh, it is real." I also got compared to celebrities like Nicki Minaj, and at the time, I didn't even know who Nicki Minaj was. Of course, I got called the N-word by a few kids. I always got told I didn't act Black. the second grade and would wear my braids, people would tell me to shake them dreads. They were in fact not dreads. When we would present projects of our family and I would have pictures of my mom, who is a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes, they would say that's not my mom because I am black and that woman is white and looks like Lady Gaga. She does not look like Lady Gaga. My teachers were constantly giving me detention for simple things that other kids would not get in trouble for. I got suspended once for crying in class because the teacher kept writing me up and the principal didn't even question it. Because I wanted to be like the other kids, I was having an identity crisis and would tell people I was Puerto Rican. I am not Puerto Rican. I let little white girls bully me because I wanted them to like me and be my friend, and in fact they just were using me as a human punching bag and someone to make fun of. Figuratively a human punching bag, not literally. I wanted to start straightening my hair because people would make fun of the fact that I had my hair braided with barrettes all the time. I never got invited to birthday parties growing up. I only had 2 people invite me to birthday parties, which both of those people were my friends. So when the rest of the class would get invitations, I did not get invited. With the exception of kindergarten, I did get invited to this one girl's birthday party who now won't even add me on Instagram even though she has everyone else added. Don't worry, I'm not mad. It's just a point that I'm pointing out. And one of my most prominent occasions is I got spit on. And I'm sure you can never guess or believe the irony. I got spit on because I wouldn't give my seat up on the bus to an older kid that wanted to sit in the back of the bus. When my grandma went up and told the school, they said, boys will be boys. After junior high, I moved to Hayward, where the school was a lot more diverse.
I'm glad you watched this extent. In the fight of discrimination, racism, and all these things, I feel like parents have a very big role to play, because when children happen to be racist, that means that it wasn't communicated to them, and maybe even the idea is being fed. Parents are feeding on that idea, because I know no child is born racist. So they're born into that system, and parents don't show them that they can embrace each other with love. So it will all starts with parents educating their children. You know, it's the family that educates the society. So that's where the change will come from. If you have your kids, if you're a white person, like, educate your kid on what the diversity of the world and how they can learn from different cultures, you know. Just imagine having an open mind and having all this multiple culture knowledge, you know. It's a colorful world. I don't know how best I can explain this, but diversity is power. Diversity is not disunity. Kindly, we can make this change. Don't forget to leave your thought in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, kindly comment. I love interaction. Also share the video. Goodbye for now. Appreciate it.